blue light. That's the first thing Rin noticed. Not the sound of the bell. Not the new girl walking into the room. It was the glow. A faint, electric blue shimmer. Crawling along her fingertips, just for a second. And then gone. Every single student in Class 7 turned in their seats. Not fast. It's not obvious. Just enough to see if it happened again. No one said a word. Only the hum of the ship's life support filled the silence. The teacher cleared her throat. "Class, this is Elara. She's just transferred aboard Horizon Dawn from—" She glanced at the datapad, then frowned. "From New Vega Colony." That got Rin's attention. New Vega wasn't just far. It was gone. Everyone knew the colony had been destroyed last year, but nobody knew exactly how. The teacher pointed to the farthest seat in the back, right next to the emergency exit hatch. "Why don't you take that seat, Elara?" She walked slowly, almost too slowly. Her pale hair caught the overhead light, but her eyes stayed fixed on the floor. She sat down without looking at anyone, hands folded. Still, and yet, the whole class kept watching her. Not out of curiosity, not out of kindness. It was something else. Something heavier. Rin felt it too, like the air in the room had changed when she entered. Like the lights above were suddenly a little dimmer. Break time came. Kids whispered in clusters, stealing glances toward the back row. No one approached her. Not even the loud kids who usually greeted newcomers. She didn't eat. She didn't drink. She just sat there, eyes on the window, watching the stars drift past the hull. Rin tried not to stare. But then he saw it again. Her fingers trembling, and the light panels overhead, flickering in time with her movements. It was faint, but it was real. By the third day, the rumors had already started. "She's not human," someone whispered. "She's a survivor from the Black Zone," another said. "Don't look at her too long. She'll notice." Rin decided to test it. During a math lesson, he turned in his seat and held her gaze. Were the coldest shade of gray he had ever seen. And when she looked back, the light above his desk flickered. Only his desk. His heart started pounding. He looked away, and the flicker stopped. One afternoon, Rin caught a fragment of a conversation. Teacher was speaking quietly to a man in a dark uniform. "Security? Maybe. Her records don't match." But command cleared her for attendance. The man just nodded, glanced toward the back row, and walked away. That night, Rin couldn't sleep. He kept replaying the shimmer in her hands, the flickering lights, and the way the entire class seemed to be waiting for something to happen. On the fifth day, something did happen. The ship's lights dimmed all at once. A full blackout. Just a sudden, sharp drop. Like the whole Horizon Dawn was holding its breath. Everyone froze, and in that half-second of darkness, only one light remained. Her desk lamp, bright, unblinking. The glow fell across her face, and for the first time, she smiled. It wasn't a warm smile. It was small, sharp. A few classmates gasped. One girl dropped her stylus. The lights came back on. The lamp at Elara's desk was off. Her hands were folded again, expression gone. Rin didn't believe in ghosts. But right then, he wondered if the girl in the back row was something worse. The blackout lasted only 3 seconds. 3 long, breathless seconds, but on a ship like the Horizon Dawn, 3 seconds of total darkness feels like forever. When the lights came back, everyone looked at the same place. The back row, her desk. Elara sat exactly as before, straight-backed, hands folded, eyes fixed on nothing. But Rin noticed something no one else seemed to. Fading glow in her palms. He didn't say a word. Nobody did. Not during the rest of the lesson. Not during the walk to the dorm sectors. It was as if speaking about it might make it happen again. That night, Rin couldn't sleep. The hum of the life support seemed louder than usual. The lights in his small cabin flickered once, twice, and then stayed steady. He told himself it was just bad wiring. But the image of her faintly glowing hands kept replaying in his mind. By morning, the whispers had started again. She made the blackout happen. She's dangerous. She's cursed. No one sat near her. Even the teacher avoided direct eye contact. But Rin's curiosity was eating him alive. During lunch, he made his move. He sat across from her at the far end of the mess hall table. "Hey," he said quietly. She didn't look up. "I'm Rin." Silence. "I saw your hands," he whispered. That made her look at him. Her eyes were sharper today, colder. But behind them, there was something else. Fear. "You didn't see anything," she said, voice barely above a whisper. It wasn't a request, it was a command. Rin leaned forward. "Is it you? The blackout?" She stared at him for 3 full seconds before answering. "They're not ready to know." The rest of the day passed without incident. Till the final class of the cycle. The lights dimmed again. Not as long as before, barely a second. But in that moment of shadow, Rin heard something. A voice, not human, yet from anyone in the room. A metallic whisper, soft and low, right in his ear. She must be returned. The lights snapped back on. Elara's eyes were locked on his, she knew. Somehow she knew he'd heard it. By evening, the rumors had turned into full-blown stories. Some said she was a spy. Others said she was a survivor of a battle nobody talked about. One boy claimed she could talk to machines, and that the machines talked back. Rin didn't know what to believe. But he knew one thing, whatever was going on. Elara was at the center of it. 2 days later, the answer came. Or at least part of it. It was ship night. Most students were asleep. Rin couldn't. He kept thinking about the whisper. It's about her. So he left his dorm quietly and made his way toward Class 7. The halls were empty and silent, except for the steady hum of the engines. When he reached the classroom, the door was slightly open. Light spilled out into the corridor. He pushed it open just enough to see inside. Elara sat at her desk, tapping her fingers in a slow, deliberate pattern. Tap, 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 tap. Tap the same pattern over and over. The classroom terminal. Screen flickered. Lines of alien symbols crawled across it, glowing faint blue. Symbols Rin had never seen before. And then, the whisper came again. Not from the hallway. From the terminal. "We have found you, Elara." Rin's heart slammed against his ribs. He stepped back, but the door creaked. Elara's head snapped up. Her eyes locked on him. The symbols on the screen vanished. The light in the room dimmed to almost nothing. "You shouldn't be here," she said. Her voice was sharper now. Almost angry. "What was that?" Rin asked, trying to keep his voice steady. "Who were you talking to?"
How?
Her expression didn't change, but her hands clenched into fists. "They're coming," she said. "For me?" He wanted to ask more, but the ship's intercom suddenly came to life with a burst of static. Every speaker in the corridor hissed at once. And then, the same voice. "We have found you, Elara." This time, it wasn't soft. It wasn't distant. It filled the entire hallway. Rin froze. Elara didn't. She stood up, walked to the door, and pulled it shut between them. The lights in the corridor went out. Only the faint blue glow from inside the classroom remained, and then nothing. No sound, no whisper, just darkness. When Rin woke the next morning, he was in his bed. He didn't remember walking back. He didn't remember opening his door. But on his desk, there was a single slip of paper. 3 words, written in careful handwriting. "Don't follow me." The horizon dawn went about its daily cycle as if nothing had happened. Students filed into class. Elara was in her usual seat, eyes on the window, hands folded. No one else seemed to notice, but Rin did. Her hands weren't trembling today. They were still. Too still at lunch. He tried to sit near her again. She didn't stop him, but she didn't speak either. When he asked her about the voice, she ignored him. When he mentioned the paper, her eyes flicked toward him for just a second, then back to her food. It was as if the warning was over. Now it was simply a matter of waiting. That night, Rin heard the whisper again, not through the ship's speakers, not from a terminal, it's from inside his own head. "Don't get in the way." The next morning, the ship's scanners picked up something unusual. A faint signal, far out in the black. Captain said it was probably a stray burst from a passing ship. But Elara's head lowered the moment she heard it. Her hands clenched. Rin didn't need to ask. He knew what it meant. They were getting closer. By the end of the week, the Horizon Dawn systems began to glitch. Minor things at first, doors sticking, lights flickering in odd patterns. But then navigation reported a phantom contact. Number visible ship. No ID signature. Just a presence. Moving in the same direction as them, and through it all. The students in Class 7 kept glancing toward the back row, as if they knew exactly who it was following. That night, Rin stayed awake. In his cabin, staring at the ceiling, the hum of the engine seemed quieter now. So quiet when he finally drifted toward sleep. A single phrase echoed in his mind. Not from Elara, not from the voice. From somewhere else. She cannot hide much longer. By the time morning came, Rin had made his decision. He was going to find out what Elara was hiding, even if it meant hearing that voice again. Rin had been watching her for 3 days now. Not openly, not where the teacher or the other students could notice. Just enough to see the patterns. Elara always stayed late after class. The others would leave, the teacher would log out, the lights would dim to evening mode, and she'd still be there, hands on her desk, perfectly still, till she thought no one was watching. That's when she'd start. Tap, 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 tap. Tap, pause, tap, tap, tap. Tap, tap. It wasn't random. It wasn't nervous fidgeting. It was deliberate. Like she was speaking in a language made only of sounds and pauses. On the 4th night, Rin decided he couldn't just watch anymore. He waited until lights out in the dorm, then slipped out, barefoot to keep quiet. The hallways of the Horizon Dawn were empty at ship night, just the low hum of the engines and the occasional flicker of maintenance drones drifting past. He reached Class 7 and pressed himself against the wall beside the door. It was half open again. Inside, the room glowed faintly blue. Not from the overhead lights, they were dim. From the terminal lines of alien symbols scrolled down the screen, each one pulsing slightly before vanishing. Elara sat at her desk, tapping. Her pattern again and again. Every few seconds, the screen would flicker, and new symbols would appear. Rin strained to hear. And then it came. A voice, not a recording. Not a ship system. A presence. Transmission received. Awaiting coordinates. Elara's hands froze. She whispered something under her breath, too soft for Rin to catch. The screen pulsed again. Coordinates. Locked. Confirm identity. She hesitated. Then, my name is Elara Vale, she said softly. They've found me. I need extraction. Rin's mouth went dry. Extraction? From what? From here? The voice answered. Host vessel identified. Human. Colony transport Horizon Dawn. Pursuit is in progress. Rin's chest tightened. Pursuit. That meant something was already coming for them. He shifted his way, and the door creaked. Elara's head snapped around. Her eyes locked on him in an instant. The symbols on the screen vanished. The glow died. She stood. You were told not to follow me. Rin stepped inside. What is going on? Who are you talking to? Who's following us? Her expression didn't change, but her voice was sharper now. You don't want those answers, yes? He said, heart pounding. She took one step toward him. They will kill everyone on this ship to get to me. Do you understand that? Before Rin could answer, the entire classroom went dark. Even the emergency strips along the floor were dead. And then the voice came again. But this time, it wasn't coming from the terminal. It was coming from everywhere. We have found you, Elara. But it was cold. But it was cold. It slid under the skin like ice. Elara closed her eyes. She didn't look afraid. She looked resigned. The lights flickered back on. The terminal was dead. No blue glow. No symbols. Elara walked past Rin without looking at him. If you're smart, you'll stay away from me. But Rin couldn't. Not now. Not after hearing that voice. Again, the next day in class, Elara didn't speak. She didn't write. She didn't even look out the window. Just sat there, perfectly still, as if she was waiting for something to happen. Rin could feel it too. Something was coming. Something that wasn't going to stay in the shadows much longer. After class, he tried again. Elara.
Please.
Just tell me, what do they want? She glanced at him, then at the door. No one here would believe me, she said quietly. They'd think I was lying, or worse, they'd try to use me. Use you for what? Her voice dropped to a whisper. I have something they want. Something inside me, and they'll burn this ship to the ground to get it. That night, the ship's long-range scanners picked up a faint contact. Too far to identify, too small to be a colony ship, but it was following their exact course. In closing, the captain ordered standard watch procedures. The crew acted calm, but Elara's hands trembled all through class the next day, and the lights above her desk flickered in time with the shaking. Rin stayed in the dorm after lights out, till he heard it, the tapping. Faint coming from down the corridor, he slipped out again, following the sound. Not to Class 7 this time, to a maintenance bay. Elara was there, sitting cross-legged on the floor, tapping against a portable datapad. The glow from the screen lit her face, and Rin could see the exhaustion in her eyes. You're still doing it? He said quietly. She didn't look up. They're getting closer. I can feel them. The screen flickered, and the alien voice came again. Contact within 40 hours. Prepare for retrieval. Rin's blood ran cold. Retrieval, that could mean anything. But from the tone of that voice, it didn't sound like a rescue. Elara finally looked at him. If they reach us, it won't matter where you hide. No one will survive. The next morning, the Horizon Dawn changed course. The captain didn't announce it to the passengers, but Rin overheard two crew members talking in the mess hall. The Phantom Contact had adjusted its heading to match them exactly, no matter where they went. It followed Elara. She didn't even react to the news. It was as if she'd known it would happen all along. That night, the tapping was faster. Urgent. The symbols on the screen flashed brighter. Rin crouched in the corner of the classroom, listening. The voice came again. Pursuit will intercept in 22 hours. Coordinates transmitted. Elara typed something back faster than he'd ever seen her move. Then the voice said something new. Do not resist. Surrender is your only option. Her hands froze. Her eyes closed. When she opened them again, she looked straight at Rin in the shadows. They won't stop, she said quietly. They never stop. The following day, the crew officially announced the contact. They still didn't know what it was, but it was closing the gap fast. Too fast. Some passengers started to panic. Others demanded to know if the Horizon Dawn was under attack. The captain gave careful, measured answers. But Rin could see the truth in the way the officers moved quickly, quietly, urgently. And in the middle of it all, Elara sat in the back row, perfectly still, as if she were waiting for the moment the chase would end. That night, Rin didn't follow her. He didn't need to, because the voice found him as he lay in his bunk, half asleep. The cold whisper slid into his mind. One day left by the time the ship's lights came up in the morning cycle, Rin knew whatever was chasing them would be here soon. And when it arrived, Lara's secret would no longer be a secret. The Horizon Dawn had been running for 20 hours straight, every change in course, every burst from the engines. The shadow behind them followed. No name, no signal. This time, but everyone knew it was there. Could feel it in the way the crew walked faster, in the way passengers whispered in corners, in the way the lights sometimes flickered, like the ship itself was nervous. Rin hadn't spoken to Elara since the last time she'd told him to stay away. She still sat in the back row every day, still tapping sometimes when she thought no. One was watching, still looking out the window as if she could already see what was coming. On the 21st hour, the captain finally called for a lockdown. No one in or out of passenger quarters without escort, classes suspended. Meals brought to cabins. But Rin didn't stay in his cabin. He slipped away the first chance he got, heading for the observation deck. He needed to see. The stars stretched. In every direction, silent, cold, endless. And then he saw it, far in the black. Just a speck, but wrong. Too dark. Too sharp. A shape that didn't match any human design. The moment he spotted it, his stomach turned. Like his body already knew it wasn't supposed to look at it. Don't stare too long. He turned. Elara stood behind him. Her voice was flat, but her eyes, there was something in them now. Not fear exactly. More like acceptance. What is it? He asked. She stepped closer to the glass. The Veilborn, the word felt heavy. Like it didn't belong in his mouth. They don't send warnings, she continued. They don't give second chances. When they arrive, they take what they came for, and they leave nothing else behind. Before Rin could speak, the ship's speakers crackled to life, static, then a voice, not the same metallic whisper from before. This was louder, colder, sharper. Horizon Dawn, we know you hear us. Every passenger froze. Every crew member turned toward the nearest panel. You carry what belongs to us. You will surrender it now. The captain's voice cut in. This is Captain Dallin of the colony ship Horizon Dawn. Identify yourself. The reply came instantly. We are the Veilborn. You have something that is ours. Give her to us, or we will. Take her. The went silent. Rin turned to Elara. Her face was pale, but calm. She didn't look surprised. The captain's voice echoed again over the ship's internal speakers. All crew to stations. Passengers remain in quarters. This is not a drill. 2 hours later, the ship's corridors were lined with armed security. The alien vessel was now close enough for full visual. It looked wrong, like it had been grown, not built. Dark, twisted shapes curled across its hull. No engines Rin could see. And yet it was keeping pace easily. In the captain's ready room, the senior officers argued. Some said to hand Elara over one life. To save hundreds, others said they didn't negotiate with unknown threats. Elara wasn't in the room. She was in the security wing, sitting alone, 2 guards posted at the door. When Rin found her, she didn't look up. They won't stop. She said, they don't care what deals you make. If you give me to them, they'll take me. And then they'll kill you anyway. How do you know? Rin asked. She finally met his eyes. Because I escaped them once. The lights flickered, not like before. This was longer 3 full seconds of darkness. When the lights came back, one of the guards outside her room was gone. His rifle lay on the floor. The other guard was shaking, eyes wide. They're already here, he whispered. The ship's alarms wailed. The alien vessel had moved into boarding range. A warning klaxon echoed through every corridor. The captain's voice came again. All hands, brace for contact. On the observation deck, Rin saw the Veilborn ship up close for the first time. It wasn't just dark, it seemed to drink the light around it. Long, spindly shapes extended from its sides, reaching toward the Horizon Dawn. Something slammed into the hull. A deep, resonating clang that rattled the glass. Boarding tubes, the crackled again. Last chance, Horizon Dawn. Surrender the girl, or be destroyed. Elara stood behind Rin, her face unreadable. If they take me, they'll get what they want. If they don't, I'll tear this ship apart looking. Rin's voice was low. Then what do we do? She turned to him, and for the first time since he'd met her, there was something like fire in her eyes. We fight. But Rin could see the truth in her expression. This wasn't going to be a fight the Horizon Dawn could win. And the Veilborn weren't coming to negotiate. The corridors of the Horizon Dawn shook with each impact. Rin could feel the vibrations through his boots as the alien boarding tubes locked onto the hull. The air smelled faintly of ozone-like. The ship itself knew something was wrong. Somewhere deep in the vessel, bulkhead doors were slamming shut. Security squads moved fast, setting up choke points. But against whatever the Veilborn were sending, Rin doubted it would be enough. He found Elara in the security wing. Not locked away anymore, she was standing in the middle of the room, facing 2 senior officers. One was begging her. If you go to them, maybe they'll leave the rest of us alone. They won't, she interrupted, voice calm but sharp. They'll take me. And then they'll strip this ship for parts, and everyone on it will be gone. The other officer folded his arms. Then what do you suggest, Miss Vale? She met his gaze. You'll let me stop them? Rin stepped forward. Stop them? How she turned toward him slowly. For a moment, she didn't answer. Then, she lifted her right hand. Blue light sparked along her fingertips. It wasn't bright just enough to make the officers step back. They call it the key, she said softly. It's not a weapon in the way you understand. It's a code. One that can shut down every Veilburn ship in range. You have this in you, she nodded once. It's part of me, burned into my genetic code. They can't destroy it without destroying me, and they can't copy it. That's why they're here. The first officer swallowed. And if you use it, her voice stayed even. If I use it, it kills me. The room went silent. Outside, a deep metallic groan echoed through the ship as one of the alien tubes cut through the hull plating. Then you're not using it, the officer said firmly. There has to be another way. Elara shook her head. They won't stop. Not today. Not ever. The only way this ship survives is if I end them now. Before anyone could argue, the alarms changed. A harsh, repeating tone that meant only one thing: intruders on board. A voice shouted over the comms. Deck 5 breached. The officers bolted for the door. Rin stayed. Elara, you can't do this alone. She almost smiled. You shouldn't even be here, Rin. Too late for that. The ship's PA crackled with panicked orders. The sounds of weapons fire began to echo through the metal halls. And then Rin heard it, not the crack of human rifles. Strange, bone, deep hum. A Veilborn sound. They moved fast through the corridors, avoiding the main paths. Twice, they heard the aliens before they saw them, low shapes moving in the half-light. Their skin, the same black as their ship. They didn't walk so much as flow, limbs bending the wrong way, heads turning without moving their bodies. Rin had seen alien creatures before, but nothing like this. The first time he saw a Veilborn up close, it stopped mid-step and tilted its head toward Elara. She didn't flinch. Her eyes glowed faintly blue. The creature made a sound like metal, scraping against glass, and then lunged. Rin fired before it could reach her. The shot hit. But the alien only staggered, black liquid. Spilling from the wound, it came on again. Elara raised her hand. The air between her and the alien shimmered, and the creature froze. Its body convulsed once, twice, and then collapsed in a heap. Rin stared. What was that? Part of the key, she said simply. They're linked to their ships. I can touch that link. They made it to the engine control deck. From here, she could send the key signal directly into the ship's communication array. But they weren't alone. 3 Veilborn were already there, their black forms lit by the red emergency lights. The moment they saw Elara, they moved. Rin emptied his rifle. Elara raised both hands, light surging from her palms. The deck filled with a strange, ringing sound like distant bells. The aliens convulsed and fell. But Elara staggered too, her breath coming hard. It's stronger when I get close to their ship, she gasped. I don't have much time. Rin helped her to the control console. She placed both hands on it, and the blue light spread through the metal like liquid. It's crawling along every seam. What happens when you send it? He asked. They all die, she said quietly. Their ships, their weapons, everything. She didn't answer. The deck shuddered as something massive hit the horizon dawn from outside. The comms panel flared to life, the Veilborn voice again. Last warning, human vessel. The girl is ours. Elara looked at the console. Her hands trembled. Rin, if I don't come back, no, he said. You're coming back, her eyes softened. Just for a second. Tell him I was human. Before he could stop her, she pressed her hands flat against the console. The blue light surged outward, flooding every display, every wire, every surface in sight. The hum of the ship deepened. Somewhere far away, the Veilborn howled, and then darkness when the lights returned. Elara was on her knees, breathing hard. The control console was dead. The key's power was gone. They'll be back, she said weakly. This was just the first wave. Rin knelt beside her. Then we finish this next time. But before she could answer, a deep metallic clang echoed through the ship again. More boarding tubes, and this time they were closer. The lights on. The horizon dawn didn't just flicker this time. They pulsed. Bright, dark, like a heartbeat. But not the ship's. Rin felt it in his teeth, a low vibration that seemed to crawl through the walls. Elara froze mid-step, her head tilting slightly like she was listening to something only she could hear. "They're in the walls now," she whispered. The intercom didn't even crackle before it failed completely. No orders, no voices. The sound of the ventilation fan slowing, stopping. The air turned still. Rin checked his rifle's charge. Half a cell left. It's not nearly enough for whatever was coming. They moved fast, ducking into a maintenance shaft just as the first Veilborn squad reached. Deck 7. Rin could only see them through the grating black shapes, gliding low to the ground. Heads turning in unnatural, jerking motions, sniffing the air like predators. Elara pressed her hand against the bulkhead. Her fingertips glowed faint blue. "They're talking," she murmured. "They don't know exactly where we are yet." Maintenance shaft was narrow, forcing them to crawl. Metal groaned with each movement. Every sound seemed too loud. A distant clang echoed behind them. Not human footsteps. Something sharper, like claws. Rin glanced over his shoulder. A faint shimmer moved in the dark. He didn't wait to see more. Go faster. He reached a vertical access ladder. Up or down both led into unknown sectors of the ship. Elara didn't hesitate. Down. The core is 2 decks below. If we can get there, the sound cut her off. A hiss. Close. Rin looked up. A Veilburn was clinging to the shaft wall above them, limbs spread wide like an insect, head upside down, staring straight at them. Its mouth opened. No sound. Just rows of needle teeth. It dropped. Rin fired on instinct. The shot tore through. Its shoulder, spinning it sideways, but it didn't fall it, clung to the wall. Moving in sharp, twitching bursts toward them. Elara's hand shot out, light bursting from her palm. The Veilborn froze mid-crawl, convulsing violently before dropping into the darkness below. She gasped for breath. "They're getting better at resisting me." They climbed down fast. The shaft opened into an auxiliary engineering bay dark, except for the glow of emergency panels. But something was wrong. The shadows didn't match the light. They shifted, bent, as if the walls themselves were leaning closer. "Elara," Rin whispered. "I think they've already." From the shadows, 3 figures stepped forward. Not Veilborn, humans. Their eyes were black, Veilborn black. "They've taken them," Elara said, her voice tight. Her hands trembled, not from fear, from the effort of holding something back. The first of the black-eyed crew lunged. Rin couldn't bring himself to fire. These were people. Elara didn't hesitate. Blue light flared, and the human crumpled. Without a sound, the other 2 backed away, retreating into the dark like puppets pulled on strings. "They can use us now," Elara said quietly. "If they reach the bridge, they won't need to destroy the ship. They'll make your captain hand it over." Rin swallowed. "So how do we stop them?" She looked at the floor beneath their feet. "The core. If I send the keys signal through the main reactor, it'll burn out every Veilborn mind on board. And it'll take the reactor with it." A deep, bone-shaking boom rolled through the ship. Rin didn't need to guess another. Boarding tube. Closer than ever, they ran. The engineering corridors twisted like a maze. The air was hotter here, smelling faintly of scorched metal. From somewhere above, the faint hum of the Veilburn's signal grew louder. At one junction, Rin stopped short. Ahead, a wall of darkness, not shadow, not lack of light. It's an actual barrier. It pulsed faintly, like it was alive. Elara stepped forward. "It's a Veilborn lock. If I break it, they'll know exactly where we are." "They already do," Rin said. She placed both hands on the barrier. Her eyes glowed brighter than ever. The darkness shuddered and tore apart like paper, vanishing into nothing. On the other side, the main reactor chamber, and waiting at its heart, a veil-born figure taller than any they'd seen before. Its head crowned with bone-like spines, its black eyes fixed only. On Elara, Rin raised his rifle. The alien didn't move, didn't blink, just spoke its voice like cold metal. "Keybearer, give yourself to us, and your ship will live." Elara took one slow step forward. "No." The alien tilted its head. Then, "You will watch them die." It moved, faster than sight. Rin fired. The alien swatted the shot aside like dust. It closed the distance in an instant, till Elara raised both hands. Blue fire bursting from her palms in a wave so bright it lit the entire chamber. The alien staggered, but didn't fall. Rin grabbed her arm. "Can't fight it here, yes," she said, her voice low but steady. "We can, and we will." The reactor chamber was a cathedral of steel. Pillars of glowing conduits rose like columns. Heat shimmered in the air. The hum of the core was steady to steady. Elara stood at its center, blue light bleeding from her fingertips. Rin stood behind her, rifle ready, though he knew it wouldn't matter. The Veilburn leader moved forward, spines casting jagged shadows across the walls. "Ka." Its voice was not sound, it was vibration in the bones. "Keybearer, you are incomplete. Let us finish you, Elara's." Eyes locked on the alien. Her voice was quiet. "I am not yours." It struck no blur, no warning. One moment it was still, the next its clawed hand was inches from her face. Blue fire exploded between them. The shockwave rattled the reactor's containment rings. A sound like tearing metal filled the chamber. Rin was thrown back, hitting the deck hard. His ears rang. The lights flickered. When his vision cleared, Elara was still standing. But so was the Veilborn. It smiled, or something like it. "You burn bright, Keybearer. You will burn out." Its form shifted, limbs stretching, claws elongating, eyes multiplying across its head. Rin's hands shook as he aimed again. The alien's skin rippled, absorbing the rifle shot like it was nothing. Elara stepped forward, her glow intensifying until the air itself seemed to bend around her. Her voice echoed unnaturally. "You want the key?" She raised her hands higher. "Then take all of it." The chamber screamed. Every screen flashed. Every panel sparked. The hum of the reactor rose into a roar. Blue energy poured from Elara's body, arcing across the chamber, striking the alien full force. It staggered, shrieking in a pitch that made Rin's teeth ache, but the reactor didn't like it. Warning sirens began to wail. Containment fields destabilizing. Core temperature climbing. The Veilborn lunged again, forcing Elara back against a railing. Its claws raked the deck where she'd stood a moment before. Molten steel hissing under its touch. Rin ran forward, firing again and again, forcing it to shift focus for a heartbeat. That was all Elara needed. She poured more power into the key than she ever had before. The air vibrated. Her skin cracked with lines of light as if she was breaking apart from the inside. The alien faltered. Smoke poured from its eyes. It laughed through the pain. "You will destroy yourself. We will take your remains." Elara's voice was calm now. "No, you won't." She dropped to one knee, pressing both hands to the deck. The blue energy surged down into the reactor itself. The lights died. For a moment, nothing but darkness. Then, the core erupted in a burst of blue-white light that swallowed the chamber. Rin couldn't see, couldn't hear. It was weightless for a moment, then slammed to the floor. When his vision cleared, the alien was gone, not dead. Not in pieces, just gone. Elara lay on the deck, chest rising and falling slowly. Her glow had faded to a faint shimmer. Rin crawled to her side. "Elara," her eyes opened. "I'll be back." The reactor alarms were still blaring. Containment at 12%. The ship had minutes before meltdown. Rin pulled her to her feet. "We have to move now." She nodded weakly. But as they reached the hatch, Elara looked back at the empty space where the alien had stood. Her voice was barely a whisper. That wasn't all of them. That was just their voice. The corridor shook. Panels burst from the walls. The air filled with the smell of ozone and fire. Reactor breach in 3 minutes. The ship's AI droned, as if it didn't care. Rin hauled Elara down the passage, her steps uneven, her glow flickering like a dying candle. Sparks rained. From above, emergency lights strobed red, turning every shadow into a threat. They hit a sealed bulkhead. The door's manual lock was melted. Behind it, the last shuttle. Rin slammed his shoulder into it. Nothing. Elara placed her palm against the metal. Blue light seeped into the seams. The groan of torn steel, the door peeled open like paper. Inside the shuttle, only one seat still intact. Rin didn't hesitate. "You take it?" Elara looked at him, eyes too bright. "No, I can't go." "With you? What are you talking about?" Rin grabbed her arm. "We don't have time for." The ship groaned deep, a sound like a leviathan dying. Somewhere far away, the reactor's scream rose to a killing pitch. Elara stepped back. "If I leave, the Veilborn will follow. They want the key, and I am the key." Rin shook his head. "We'll fight them together, no?" Her voice was soft but final. "If they take me alive, they win. If they can't, maybe humanity gets one more year." The deck bucked violently, throwing them both against the wall. Rin's vision swam. When it cleared, Elara was already at the shuttle's controls, locking him in. The hatch slammed shut. Rin pounded on the glass. "Elara." Through the window she smiled, not with joy, but with the peace of someone who had decided. The shuttle launched hard, pressing Rin into his seat. Through the viewport, the horizon dawn was a burning spear. Against the dark, he saw hers maul, glowing standing in the breach, the blue light from her body merging with the white-hot reactor flare. A voice, cold, smooth, echoed inside Rin's skull. "You cannot run forever, human." The stars warped. A shadow moved between them, so vast it made the Veilborn he'd seen look like insects. Then the horizon dawn detonated. The light swallowing everything, silence, blackness. Only Rin's ragged breathing in the shuttle cabin. He closed his eyes. For a moment, there was no war, no stars, just the memory of a girl in the back row, who everyone watched because they knew. The end.